Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Gen X Dad and his Gen Z Teens podcast. I'm your Gen X Dad, and today we're going to talk about something that honestly does not get discussed enough. We're going to talk about maturity, not physical maturity, not whether you can drive a car, get a job, or grow a beard. I mean real emotional and psychological maturity. One of the strange things about being human is that our bodies grow up much faster than our minds do. Biology moves quickly. Wisdom moves slowly. By the time most people are in their mid to late teens, they look close to being adults physically. But emotionally and mentally, there is still a tremendous amount of development left to happen. That is not an insult. That is simply reality. Most people spend their 20s and honestly even their 30s still figuring out how to properly handle emotions, relationships, responsibility, and pressure. One of the biggest signs that someone is maturing is when they stop making excuses for everything. Listen carefully to this one because it matters a lot. When you're younger, it is very easy to blame other people for your problems. Teachers are unfair, parents do not understand, friends are toxic, the world is against you. And sometimes those things may even be partly true. But maturity begins when you start asking yourself a different question. Instead of asking who is to blame, you ask what can you do about it? That shift changes your entire life. Mature people focus on solutions instead of excuses. They understand that even if life is unfair, they're still responsible for how they respond. That is a hard lesson because it means you lose the comfort of blaming everyone else. It also gives you power. Responsibility is heavy, but it's also freedom. Another major sign of maturity is emotional control. Now let me be clear. Emotional control does not mean you never feel angry, hurt, embarrassed, jealous, or frustrated. Every human being feels those things. Emotional maturity means you stop allowing those emotions to control your actions. One of the most dangerous things teenagers, and honestly many adults do, is treat temporary emotions like they deserve permanent reactions. Somebody embarrasses you online, and suddenly you want to destroy a friendship. Somebody hurts your feelings, and you want revenge. Somebody criticizes you, and now you think your life is over. Mature people learn to pause. They learn to cool down before speaking. They understand that emotions pass. They understand that one bad moment does not have to become a life-changing disaster if you handle it properly. I want you to really think about this. Some of the biggest regrets people carry in life came from emotional reactions that lasted only a few minutes. One angry text, one reckless decision, one outburst, one impulsive choice. Emotional control is not weakness. It is one of the greatest forms of strength. Another sign of maturity is learning to think long term. Teenagers naturally focus on the present. That is normal. You care about what your friends think right now. You care about fun right now. You care about comfort right now. But as maturity develops, you begin understanding something very important. Your future is built by what you repeatedly do today. That means discipline starts making more sense. Saving money starts making more sense. Taking care of your health starts making more sense. Studying, even when you do not feel like it, starts making more sense. Mature people begin understanding that short-term pleasure can sometimes create long-term pain, while short-term sacrifice often creates long-term freedom. And here's another huge one. Maturity develops when you realize the world does not revolve around you. Teenagers often think their feelings, problems, and experiences are bigger and more unique than anyone else's. Again, that is part of growing up, but emotionally mature people begin developing empathy. They start realizing everybody is carrying struggles you cannot see. Your parents have stress. Your friends have insecurities. Teachers have personal problems. Even the people who seem confident and successful are often fighting battles internally. Maturity teaches you to become less judgmental and more understanding. It teaches you to listen more and assume less. One of the hardest but most important parts of maturity is learning to handle discomfort. Teenagers often avoid criticism, difficult conversations, failure, or rejection because those experiences feel unbearable. But growth almost always involves discomfort. There is no way around it. If you want confidence, you'll have to first experience awkwardness. If you want success, you will first experience failure. If you want wisdom, you will first experience mistakes. Mature people stop expecting life to always feel easy. Instead, they focus on becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable. And I want to leave you with this thought. Becoming an adult is not something that magically happens when you turn 18. The law may call you an adult. Your body may look like an adult. But real adulthood is built slowly through self-control, accountability, empathy, discipline, and experience. Some people are 30 years old and still emotionally teenagers. Other people develop real maturity much earlier because they intentionally work on themselves. So don't measure your growth by your age alone. Measure it by how you respond to pressure, responsibility, setbacks, and other people. That is where true maturity lives. Okay, thanks for listening to the Gen X Dad and his Gen Z Teens podcast. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and remember that becoming stronger mentally and emotionally is one of the most important journeys you will ever take.